Hey there, Wargamers, Joe and Painter, and today, boom, we're going to check out some Battletech. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're new here, please alpha strike that like and subscribe button, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for helping support what I do. That said, we're going to be taking a look at the new Battlefield Support Battle and Fire Lances from the most recent Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter from Catalyst Games Labs. Now, I got this one in my pledge recently. I'm not sure when this will hit general sale for the public who missed the Kickstarter, hopefully soon. But on that note, I do want to pop this open and give you guys a good, fresh look at the contents today. All right, so up on deck, we have the Battlefield Support Battletech Battle and Fire Lances to take a peek at here. So we're going to pop the seam, show you the box, and get into the insides. So I don't remember how much this cost MSRP. It's going to be a trend with these videos as they release, guys. I'm filming these all at one time, and I don't have the price sheet next to me. Suffice to say, for me, when I bought them from the Kickstarter, I thought that they had good value, and I felt like they were competing with price points on 3D prints that are on the market today. So I think that's a big deal in the Battletech community, because 3D printing of the support assets has been very common, because there just wasn't really good stuff out there, or it was a better value than the metals. And in this case, the plastics, I think, are coming in at a price point that's very palatable. Get things started, I always talk about the back insert. This is going to be the same across all the vehicles. The insert for the backer is the same. It's obviously would be cool if this was an actual insert, not just, sorry, I keep saying insert. It'd be cool if it was an insert. It isn't, but suffice to say, for the vehicles, they all have a consistent backer anyway, whereas the mechs, thus far, for everyone I've seen, has a unique backer image on them. But I always like to talk about that first, so you guys can see what's in the box, or what's the back of the box. So for this one, let's go ahead and get to the cards. And we should have 2 of everything. And that way I've got these pre-sorted so we can check out the units. And as I mentioned in previous videos, I bought 2 of every one of these except for the objectives box, so that I would have 4 of each unit. So I'd have lances, which was important to me. These are the cards for Classic. The rules for the Battlefield Support for this are in the Mercenaries box. I'm not sure if that's going to be available anywhere else at some point. If it isn't, then I think that's a failure. I think there should be a way to get the rules for how you would use these cards, especially if you don't buy the Alpha Strike or the Mercenaries box. Knowing where the rules are to play with these is important, because you could buy the boxes without buying the big box set. So, bear in mind, if you get this, you might need to scrounge up the rules for how to use them. I don't play Classic, so this is less useful for me, but I do like the fact that I have them in case I do. From everything that I've heard online, running Classic vehicles in Classic can bog the game down. They have a lot of pips and a lot of bookkeeping for them. This is going to change that if you want to play with these, so you'll be able to add a little bit of flavor to your games without bogging them down too much. So, while I don't play Classic, I think this is a good value for Classic players. I also think those cards are probably going to get more use than these. These cards are really good right out of the box to just try stuff, but once you've learned the game, you're probably going to go straight to the Master Unit list anyway. I think there's value, and these should be in there, because I collect and like having them, and I like being able to just grab and go if I'm with someone and we don't have the MUL on hand. I think this is good to have. But for the average person that's already into Alpha Strike, this is going to be a cool thing to have, and then they're probably just going to go to the MUL, so your mileage may vary. That said, we'll check out the cards, then we'll check out the units. So, first up, we've got the LRM carrier coming in at 22 points. This one is usable in all eras and pretty tried and true. A lot of people are familiar with this one. TMM1, 6T, 233 for damage, 5 life, EE, IF3, LRM, search. So, nothing fancy there, just a big old guy that shoots out missiles. And at 22 points, not too bad. You're probably going to want to hide it, but it's nice that it has at least 1 TMM. Ideally, you'd probably like to park this somewhere and be stationary and hide them. So you could park it, be stationary, which would lower its skill from 4, which is what this is assumed to be, to a 3, fire indirect, and you help cancel out a little bit of that penalty for the indirect fire while also protecting your vehicle. Then you could pop him from behind cover for more direct fire if you need to give your opponent targets to choose from. One of the concepts when that I try and encourage people to consider when they're playing war games is making your opponent have painful choices. If you hide a unit, you have made a choice for your opponent. And when I say that, I mean that unit that's hidden, if your opponent can't shoot them, well, then you've chose what they can shoot at, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. So in an ideal world, when I was talking about this guy, I might let them be stationary, fire indirect, so that they can't be hit. If you decide to bring them out and make them visible for direct shots on an opponent, that means it's going to be a little easier for you to hit, potentially, instead of all the penalties for indirect fire. but B, it also means there's another unit your opponent has to determine if they want to shoot or not. So keep that in mind when you're using your models, because you can move things in and out of line of sight to dictate what choices you want your opponent to have or not have. So that said, let's check out the other variant of this. Coming in at 5 points more. This one is TMM1, 6T, usable in the Dark Age and Ilkline era, 333 for damage, 7 life, case, CR, so crit resistance, IF3, LRM, searchlight, turret, IF, or turret, IF, and LRM as well. So coming in with 2 more life, yeah, 2 more life for 5 more points, and you've got case and crit resistance. I like that pretty good, and hear me out on why I like this one. Crit resistance, if I recall, reduces the dice roll on criticals by 2, I believe. I think it's minus 2. So being able to reduce how fragile these are and how likely they might be to get crit, that's a nice little feature to have. I would have to look at the motive table. I don't think the motive roll for vehicles is considered a crit roll, but if crit resistance also worked on that, that would be great, but I don't think it does. So I do like that one for 5 points more. It's just more life and a little less likely to die, and it having case and crit resistance is really nice, so really helps prevent the ammo explosion. Next up, we have the SRM carrier at 26 points. This one's a tried and true too. It's a common thing to have seen. Usable in all eras. 5 life, TMM1, 6 tracked, 660 for damage, EE, searchlight, SRM6. This thing's absolutely nasty. If you're playing against one of these, you need to kill it quick, because that is a lot of dice that they're throwing at you, a lot of damage. Compared to my baseline that I like to use for determining if a unit is what I want, it comes in cheaper than the one that is my baseline. It does more damage. It has less life. Its survivability is less, but it's a glass cannon. That's what you're looking at. For 4 points more, we've got the SRMC variant, usable in the Ilkline and Dark Age era. Looks like it's got 2 more life. Yep, so it's reinforced, 660 for damage, TMM1, 8T, case, crit resistance, EE, searchlight, and then the turrets. I like the case and the crit resistance. You're not paying that much more if you can afford this and you're playing in the appropriate era. It just increases its survivability. We've got the Vet, I don't know how to say that, Vedet tank. 16 points, usable from the Succession Wars through the Ilklan. 2 TMM 10T for move, 111 for damage, 6 life, EE searchlight turret. It doesn't do a lot of damage. I would prefer, we'll see what the other variant is, I'd prefer to have more medium than long range on it. But for 16 points at TMM 2 and 10 move, like, good little objective grabber, good little harasser, and cheap. So I like that one pretty good. Okay, so this one is 10 points more for the armored variant. So it's got 2 more life, usable in the Dark Age and Ilkline era. Doubles the damage, TMM2, 10T for movement, so same that. Case, FC, searchlights. Does this guy have case too? No, EE. Yeah, so I'm not sure I would want to spend 10 points more on this, but compared to my baseline, it's got the same TMM, same move. It's got close to the same damage, similar life, and it comes in a little bit cheaper. So if you're going off the baseline, not too bad. But if you could get 2 of these for 32 points, which would be 12 pips of life, they'd have to deal with to take out both. And they have to shoot at 2 things to take them out, so you can split your damage around. So that's up to you if you want to invest in one guy versus 2. That could be a coin flip for which one is going to be more useful for your game tables and what you're doing. Next up, we've got the Manticore Heavy Tank coming in at 28 points, usable from the Star League era all the way up to the Ilklan. TMM1, 8T, 332 for damage, 9 life, IF search turret. This seems like a pretty standard tank. I actually like this pretty good. It's, compared to my baseline, it's a little cheaper, similar damage, similar, if not a little bit more life. I can't remember exactly what that mech had that's my baseline, but it's somewhere in this ballpark. And it's a little slower, a little easier to hit, but it's a little cheaper, so not bad. And I like the damage. It's a pretty good tank. And then the Manticore Heavy Tank, the XL variant, 31 points, so it's coming in at 3 points more, usable in the Dark Age and Ilklan era only. TMM1, 8T, 442 for damage, 9 life, case, IF, searchlight. So you're paying 3 points more, you're getting 1 extra point of damage, and you're picking up case. So yeah, if you're playing that era and you're choosing between the two and you have the points, this one's a little bit better. So I like that pretty good. Let's check out the tanks we have here, and let's start with the. Oh, I showed the LRM carrier, didn't I? hold on. I just flipped this over. Did I not flip the back over for the LRM? Oh, the card's different. Okay. Interesting. So the cards are different. So I thought they gave us double of every card. No. There are different cards here. So yeah, let's go through these two. I noticed when I flipped it over to grab them, when I grabbed these, I saw an Arrow 4 carrier, and I was like, I didn't show that one off. So yeah, so let's check out the additional cards. We got the Manticore Heavy Tank HPPC, 30 points. This one's usable in the Jihad era through the Ill Clan. Team M1 8T 333 for damage. AMS IF, not bad. This is very similar to my baseline, so not bad. The C3S, this one's 31 points, usable in the Civil War through the Ill Clan. 1 Team M 8T 332 for damage, 9 life. CS3, IF1, Mech HQ. This one I would probably just bypass, specifically as you're paying points for the C3 system, and if you aren't actually building your list for it, you're not going to get the value out of that. So that's also a complicated rules, and you need to have a list built to run that. So I want to probably just skip over. The Ultra Vedette tank, medium tank, 18 points, Team M2, 10 movement, usable in the Clan Invasion through the Ill Clan, 111 for damage, 7 life, EE search turret. A little bit more than the other one that we looked at 16 points, so just another little harasser. The Cell version at 20 points, it's coming in usable in the Jihad through the Ill Clan era, 2 Team M, 10T, 211 for damage, and a whole boatload of rules down here. The thing that I would probably say is just skip this one too, because it's got a C3. Though I guess maybe there's a C3 variant of all of these in here at this point. So if you were doing that, you might be able to run them together to form a network. But it's complicated, and if you're going to run C3, you're going to have to read through those rules and make sure that you're paying attention, because it's a little bit convoluted and it's complicated. So if you're going to do that, you just dive into those rules and you can determine what's going to be good for you. For the SRM upgrade, 3054, 27 points, Clan Invasion through the Ill Clan, 1 Team M, 6T, 660 for damage, EE Snark Search, 5 life. So yeah, again, kind of a glass cannon, pumping out a bunch of damage, and then you got the Narc missile if you can hit someone with that and help other people out. So if you see these on the table, generally shoot them. The SRM carries do a bunch of damage. The C3 one, yeah, so it looks like there's going to be a C3 variant of all of these. It's what we feel like we're looking at here. 32 points going for the Civil War through the Ill Clan era. Team M1, 6T, 660 for damage, 6 life, so 1 more than the other guy. C3, ECM, EE, MHQ, and it looks like all these were slaves, so there need to be someone with like a master, I think. Maybe they're in another box, I don't know. And then we've got the LRM carrier, another C3 variant here. Did I do both of those? Yeah, I did. Okay. So this is the 3055 upgrade coming in at 32 points. Usable in the Clan Invasion through the Ill Clan here. Team M0, 4T, 355 for damage, 5 life, C3, EE, IF4, Mech HQ1. Again, C3, you're going to have to build that specifically if you want to make use of it. And if you aren't, then grab a different variant because you're spending points on something you won't use. And then this is the Arrow 4 carrier, 32 points, Clan Invasion through the Dark Gate, or the Ill Clan. 1 Team M6T 000 for pure damage, 5 life, but it does have artillery strikes, and it has 2 of them. I don't remember if this is going to be the 2 small plates or the large ones. It's probably small, but that's kind of nice that it pumps out two little pie plates, so not bad. Park it in a corner, let it be stationary, and just unload. So cool. Now that I see that there were variants here, I'm going to have to go back and do some additions to previous videos now. That said, let's jump into the units here. So look at the Arrow 4 carrier slash LRM. We've got alternate turrets for, is that for the front guys? Okay, so it looks like, I see. Okay, so this is set up so that you can change your LRM carriers into SRM carriers and vice versa. So we've got extra LRM ones and 2 of those and 2 extra SRM ones, which is nice. So these tanks here in the front can be modified to be LRM or SRM. That's pretty nice. Some of these holes look like they didn't get fully, or didn't get the full depth they were supposed to. So in terms of washing, you may have some depth inconsistencies. Let's see how hard that is to pop off. No, not too bad to get that on and off. Pop that back in. Yep. So one of the things I would say is if you're painting, probably either pull that off first, or just know that once you paint, you're going to have issues getting your airbrush or your rattle can up under there. So that's a thing to consider, but it's nice that they move for posability. Yeah. So details up at the front look like they get a little shallow, and then the sides, the detail level relative to other tanks down here, there's a little bland, but it's still fine. I think once you hit it with your paints and a dry brush wash, it's still going to look pretty cool. So check out the other guy here. And again, a little soft up here at the front. Some mold lines to clean. The treads don't matter as much because you can't really see them. So, but you probably, if you're worried about basing, you're probably going to pop these off anyway, so you might see them. And then the SRM carriers, let's see, should be the same exact thing. Yeah, so the same exact body, just got different turret on there. Pop that off for LRMs if you want to. And it's got some kind of lubricant that they've put in there for these. So might want to keep that in mind when you're popping them on and off. So yeah, same thing up front. It gets a little soft and a little soft in here, but still pretty cool. Relative to what you might be paying for 3D print stuff, these are still a really good value at this point. And then for consistency, we'll see how this guy looks. About the same, so nothing crazy there. Now we've looked at the SRM and LRM. Let's look at the Vedette tank. I think that's this guy. Yeah, interesting shape. The way that juts out, low profile. Okay, so I was wondering if this was like glass right here. That is part of the cockpit area. So that would be for jeweling. The turret clearly moves. And yeah. I still wish some of the treads looked a little better. It gets really soft right in here. Not the end of the world, but that is a thing that's occurring. The ones at the front look pretty solid though, right? Under here, they're really deep, but back here it just kind of gets a little shallow or a little soft. And almost kind of warped a little bit. Yeah, for the scale of it, I'm not terribly worried. As long as the mechs and stuff look good, these tanks look reasonably fine for me. For consistency's sake, let's check out this guy. Yeah, same kind of thing with the treads on the other one. But looks basically the same. Nothing that's standing out to me. And then last but not least, let's check out the Manticore, which is probably my favorite one in the box visually because it just looks cool. It's got that big old turret on it. I like that. I like that the LRM and SRM racks, you have the defined holes, and this one actually has little tips. It's pretty nice. Little straggler for some Chinese worker's hair stuck in the model. That's cool. All the way from another country. Gross. Definitely gross. Well, I got a little Chinese hair in my tank that we have now pulled out. See a little mold lines there. You can see where some of the detail on the underside of the tank. On this side, it's trying to peek out. I don't think that's a mold line. It looks like it's supposed to be like a bar, but on this side, you kind of lose some of that. So some of the limitations of what they were producing, I think, but still reasonably pleased with that. And let's check out this one for consistency's sake. No Chinese hairs peeking out from under the turret, this one. LR missile and SRM missile racks look reasonable. Yeah, again, some of that detail on that turret's trying to peek on the bottom, but it's just really soft where that bar would be. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't know how they could have changed the detail on the sides. It just looks a little bland. Like right in here is a little soft, but I don't know. It still looks cool. You're probably going to be looking at this from top down anyway, so some of the side views aren't going to be as obvious. But they've got some of these tanks I've looked at where the tread patterns and stuff on the side just look a little bit more interesting, but it could just be a limitation of what these are supposed to be. So, but yeah, that'll be the most recent box here, the Battletech Battle and Fire Lances. I think it's really cool that these come with the turrets. to make them all SRM or all LRM or any combination you want. I also think it's interesting that they had basically 8 double-sided different cards in here that I didn't realize. I thought they just gave us 2 and doubled those cards up for the type. So 2 variants in that you had front and back, and then 2 of that card, so you had 1 for each vehicle in here. But instead they gave us 2 cards with a different variant on each side, so we actually got 4 different ones. Cool for variety. Might make it weird if you're trying to play and want to have just 2 duplicates, but it is what it is. I think that's kind of cool, and I got to go back on the previous ones and check those cards out and do some edits. And there you have it, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the first look at the Battle and Fire Lance for the Battlefield Support Force Pack here. If you are still waiting on your Kickstarter pledge, please be patient. I'm sure that'll get there soon, and I definitely want you to get your awesome miniatures and goodies so that you can get into doing the hobby and playing the game. If you've already got your products from the Kickstarter, though, that's awesome, and in both cases, I'd love for both of you to get in the comments below if you have any thoughts, concerns, critiques, anything at all you want to talk about. Let's get that discussion going down below. As always, folks, that's all I've got for you today. If you want to help support the channel, please check out the description down below. All the relevant links for helping keep the channel going can be found there. And make sure you keep painting your models, keep rolling your dice, and I will catch you guys next time. If you made it this far, you're probably a viewer that already hits that like button when you see a video come up. You're probably already a subscriber, and you probably jump into the comments down below to help support the channel, to help support that algorithm. But if you're looking for some other ways to help support the channel too, make sure you check the description down below. Maybe you want to pick up some paints from Monument Hobbies. That's my paint of choice. The Pro Acrylic line is chef's kiss, good stuff. Maybe you want to check out some of the offerings from Death Designs, where I work in my day job. We got plenty of 3D printed products, as well as MDF terrain, some of the stuff that I have designed myself and we play with here on the channel. And if you're looking to bolster your Battletech ranks, miniatures, and offerings, make sure you check out Bobby from Fortress Miniatures and Games. He's one of the main supporters of the channel as well, and supporting any of these companies helps support what I do and helps to ensure that I can continue to bring content to all of you. If you want to become a super supporter, I highly recommend you guys check out the Patreon. You guys give that extra little edge to help push more content out, and I really do appreciate that. And my ultimate goal on the channel is to continue to be able to not only put out the content we have now, but to get to a point where you can put out more content later, whether that be battle reports or painting tutorials or just more rambles, anything at all. I'd like to be doing more content for you. This is something that I enjoy. I like being able to cast a light into the darkness to bring a little bit of hobby positivity to all of you and make you feel good, and also enjoy playing games myself. As we do the final sign off here, though, I do want to go ahead and switch on over and do the scroll of awesome to showcase all the Patreon supporters, the super supporters of the channel, to give them some recognition for helping support what I do. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next time.